There comes a moment in every soul's journey, a quiet, unmistakable reckoning, not loud, not violent, but permanent. A voice within whispers, you are meant for more than this, more than comfort, more than distractions just as dreams, more than drifting day after day, hoping something changes while nothing does. That voice is not your ego, it is not your fear, it is your inner architect, the part of you that remembers who you were before the world told you who to be. And it doesn't speak in excuses, it speaks in absolutes. Discipline, not a punishment, not restriction. Discipline is devotion to something greater than moods, to something higher than convenience. Discipline is the quiet commitment that says, I will rise. Even when no one sees me, I will move. Even when comfort begs me to stop, I will build. Even when there's no applause. Because here's the brutal truth no one tells you. Freedom does not come from doing what you want. It comes from mastering what you must. Every legend, every pioneer, every empire of mind or matter was forged in this sacred fire. Thomas Edison. 10,000 failures before the light bulb. Not because he was lucky, but because he was disciplined enough to keep showing up. Oprah. A young girl abused, dismissed, told she would never be anything. She didn't wait for someone to choose her. She built the woman she needed to be, piece by discipline, piece. Discipline is what separates the wishers from the warriors, the ones who hope from the ones who hunt. We've been sold a lie that motivation is what moves the world, that passion will carry us, but passion without discipline is like lightning with no grounding. Powerful for a second, then gone. But discipline is the river that cuts through rock. It's the soldier rising at 4 a.m. to train, whether there's a battle or not. It's the writer who returns to the blank page, day after day, sentence after sentence, even when inspiration is nowhere to be found. It's the mother who wakes before the sun and builds a world for her children while holding her own together with silent strength, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Discipline is not glamour. It is grit. It is not loud. It is relentless. It does not demand attention. It earns results. And the truth most people can't accept. Discipline is the ultimate act of self-respect. When you show up consistently for your body, your goals, your purpose, you're not just building habits, you're building identity. You're saying to yourself, I am worth the effort. I am not a slave to impulse. I am the master of my fate. That's why the most successful people in history, from Da Vinci to Kobe, from Carnegie to Mandela, didn't rely on chaos. They built structure. They didn't hope for greatness. They made it predictable. Because discipline is the architecture of greatness. It is the invisible scaffolding that holds the skyscraper of your destiny. Without it, your potential collapses under the weight of excuses. So ask yourself, not what do I want? Ask instead, what am I willing to sacrifice for who I must become? That's the real question, because freedom isn't found in fleeting pleasures. It's found in sustained purpose. The freedom to choose your path, to command your energy, to sculpt your mind. That kind of freedom is earned through early mornings and late nights, through small wins stacked over time, through the discomfort of discipline, again and again and again. And one day, without realizing it, you wake up in the life you used to dream about, not because luck handed it to you, but because discipline carried you through the fire, and the world looks on, confused, asking how you did it. They didn't see the nights you worked while they slept, the days you trained while they scrolled, the moments you said no to ease and yes to excellence. They see freedom, but they miss the price. The truth, discipline, is the shortcut to freedom because it's the only path that actually leads there.
You cannot escape the law of cause and effect. You may ignore it. You may deny it. but it governs your life like gravity governs the earth. Every decision you make is either pulling you toward freedom or pushing you deeper into invisible chains. The snooze button seems small, the skipped workout harmless. The moment you choose comfort over progress, unnoticeable. But understand this. Discipline is built in moments no one will ever applaud, and so is regret. The greatest pain in life is not failure, it's looking back and realizing you were capable, but undisciplined, worthy, but unwilling. And that's the tragedy no one warns you about. The wasted brilliance, the dormant greatness, the empire that existed within you but was never born, not because you weren't enough, but because you refused to pay the price. And that price is simple, not easy, but simple. Daily discipline. Wake up when it's hard. Do the work when it's boring. Push forward when no one claps. Your dreams are not waiting for perfect conditions. They're waiting for your consistent commitment. Because let's get one thing straight. You don't rise to the occasion. You fall to the level of your preparation. And that preparation is made of discipline. Look around you. The world is filled with noise. Distraction is a drug, and most are addicted. Screens, notifications, empty praise, quick rewards. It's a carnival of comfort. And most are stuck in it, wondering why their life feels hollow. But you were not made to be average. You were not made to scroll through existence. You were not made to float. You were made to forge. And forging requires fire. It requires choosing structure over spontaneity, purpose over pleasure, standards over feelings. Because here's a truth very few will accept. Your feelings are liars. They will tell you to quit when you must persist, to rest when you must rise, to surrender when you're just inches from breakthrough. Discipline doesn't ask if you feel like it. Discipline decides. And that decision echoes through every corner of your life. When you train your body, you train your will. When you train your will, you command your mind. And when your mind is trained, the world bends to your vision. Because the man or woman who has mastered discipline has mastered freedom. Not the freedom of laziness, the freedom of power. Power to choose who you become. Power to live on your terms. Power to walk into any room, any challenge, any battlefield of life with quiet, unshakable confidence. That's the kind of freedom that doesn't fade, because it was built brick by brick, in silence, in sweat, in solitude. And that is why so few achieve it. They want the crown, but not the burden. They want the outcome, but not the process. But you, if you're hearing this, you are not like them. There is something in you that refuses to accept mediocrity. There is a fire burning, maybe quiet, maybe faint, but it is there. And that fire is fueled not by chance, but by choice. The choice to rise, the choice to act, the choice to discipline your life until it bends into the shape of your dreams. You will be tested. You will be mocked. You will be misunderstood. They'll say you're obsessed. They'll say you've changed. They'll say you're too intense, but ignore them, because average always mocks excellence. Mediocrity despises discipline, because discipline reminds them of what they're not willing to become. But you were never meant to blend in. You were born to break the mold. And it starts, not with motivation, but with mastery. The mastery of your decisions, the mastery of your mornings, the mastery of the man or woman staring back at you in the mirror. That's where freedom begins. Not someday, not when life gets easier, not when you're in the mood. It begins the moment you stop negotiating with your potential and start acting like it's non-negotiable. So choose. Choose now, because your future is not waiting. It is being built, with or without you. And every day you delay, someone else is living the life you could have had. Not because they're better, but because they're more disciplined. Discipline is not a punishment. It's not a prison. It's the path to everything you say you want. You want confidence? Discipline. You want freedom with your time? Discipline. You want to walk into a room and know you belong there, not hope, not fake it, but know it? Discipline. Not talent, not luck, not who you know. It's who you become. When no one is watching, when nothing is certain, when all you have is a vision and the will to follow through. And yet, so many run from it. They run from structure because they confuse it with limitation. They run from repetition because they crave novelty. They run from the grind because they haven't learned to love the growth that lives inside it. But here's the paradox. The more you run from discipline, the smaller your life becomes. The smaller your influence, your reach, your impact. The more you embrace it, deeply, fully, the more life begins to open itself to you. Because life does not respond to wishes, it responds to work. Intentional, relentless, disciplined work. And understand, discipline isn't just about building empires or achieving wealth. It's about keeping promises to yourself. It's about knowing that when you say, "I will," you do. Not sometimes. Not when it's easy. Always. Because when your word becomes law in your own life, you begin to move differently. People notice. Opportunities shift in your direction. Not by magic, but by mastery. Let's talk plainly. There will be mornings when you want to quit. Evenings when your doubts are louder than your dreams. Moments when the voice in your head whispers, "What's the point?" And in that moment, you have a choice. To collapse or to command. Command your body. Command your mind. Command your emotions to fall in line with your mission because you run the show. Not your laziness. Not your fear. Not your past. This is where most people give up. They confuse fatigue with failure. They confuse resistance with a reason to stop. But pressure isn't the enemy. It's proof that you're in the process of becoming. It's the fire that forges the weapon. You are the weapon. And discipline is how you sharpen your edge. Look at every great person history remembers. Lincoln, Churchill, Mandela, King. They did not rise on comfort. They did not build legacies from convenience. They woke early. They studied deeply. They sacrificed constantly. They chose the harder path, not because it felt good, but because it was right. And what about you? What will they say about you when you're gone? Will they say they could have been something, or will they say they were unstoppable? They left nothing on the table. They lived full throttle, disciplined, devoted, and dangerous to anything that stood in their way. That decision is yours. You don't become legendary by accident. You become legendary by decision. And that decision is backed by daily discipline. You don't need more motivation. You don't need another secret formula. You need to get serious. Serious about who you are. Serious about what you're capable of. Serious about what you came here to do. Because this isn't just about success. This is about liberation, freedom. Waking up every day knowing you are not owned by your vices, your excuses, your environment. You are ruled by your will. That's the ultimate power. And when you reach that level, when your discipline becomes non-negotiable, you become untouchable, not because life stops challenging you, but because you stop backing down. You see, discipline isn't about chains. It's about choice. The highest form of freedom is not doing whatever you feel like. It's having the power to command yourself toward what matters most, even when every part of you wants to run. That's freedom, the kind no one can take from you. Not the government, not your boss, not failure, not fear. When your mind becomes your ally, when your habits obey your purpose, when your mornings belong to your mission, you are already free. Not someday, not later, right now, because the battle for your future is not fought in some distant arena. It's fought in the next decision you make. Do you hit snooze or do you rise? Do you numb yourself or do you face the mirror? Do you give in or do you go again? That's the battlefield. Not glamorous, not loud, but defining. And the truth? No one's coming to save you. No mentor, no guru, no billionaire playbook can replace the raw, personal revolution that happens when you decide to own your life completely. That's why discipline matters. Because it is the evidence of that decision. The proof that you're no longer playing small. The signal to the universe that you're not just dreaming. You're doing. You don't need to be fearless. You don't need to be perfect. But you do need to be disciplined. Because when the storm comes, and it will, only the disciplined will stand. They will rise when the weak fall. They will persist when the world quits. They will carve mountains from resistance because they have forged themselves in fire, and fire does not fear the cold. So if you're tired of living halfway, if you're done watching others pass you by, if you're ready to look in the mirror and finally recognize the greatness staring back at you, then commit. Not for a week, not until it's hard. Commit for life. Make discipline your DNA. Make devotion your default, and never again apologize for choosing excellence over ease, because this is your time, this is your chapter, this is your fight to win, not someday, but now. Burn the excuses, bury the distractions, build the habits, and break the limits, because discipline is the shortcut to freedom, and freedom is the life you were born to live. No more waiting, no more doubting, no more asking for permission. Decide, act, repeat, rise. This is your destiny, and discipline is how you claim it.